Hello and welcome to this episode of The Chop with Marvin Lee. Um, my Instagram is not behaving correctly tonight, but it's okay. There we go. I'm going to have a friend of mine join me here momentarily. Uh, and I'm overjoyed right now. Today actually is my clean date, March 18th, 2019. 5 years ago, I made the decision to stop using substances. I made the decision to stop trying to escape reality. I made the decision to, no matter what happens in my life, I'm going to be in harmony with reality. No matter what happens, I'm going to keep uh, connecting with other recovering addicts. I'm going to keep serving. I'm going to keep loving. I'm going to keep giving. I'm going to keep being, right? And it's been 5 wonderful years. And I don't know if my cousin is watching. I actually got clean on one of my cousin's birthdays. That was coincidental, but I have another cousin, Denise Newton. I want to shout her out in Atlanta. That's my Uncle Larry's daughter, for those of you who know. And if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you know. But I really want to say a very, very big thank you. And this is a huge shout out to Denise because she actually made me promise her when I was using, I was able to talk to her. She was the first person in my family that I was able to open up to and be honest with and tell her that I was using. And she made me, she calls me Goob because my nickname is Goober. I don't care if you guys know, but she calls me Goob. And that's our thing. So she says, Goob, promise me that you're going to stop using. And I promised her I would stop using. And in all of that, um, I had the desire to not use, and my intention was to quit. But I just could not stop for the life of me. But I always remembered the promise that I made to my cousin. And eventually, I was able to honor that promise. And so that's our thing now. It's like I always tell her how grateful I am to her for making me promise that I would quit using. Because I'm that person. If I promise you something, I'm gonna honor my promise. I'm gonna keep my word. So that's a very, very big shout out to my cousin Denise Newton in the A, and to everybody else that has congratulated me and sent me a text, called me, sent me a DM, or whatever the case is. Thank you guys. I love all of y'all. I could cry just now thinking about um, how far I've come in 5 years because I've been through some things. And I'm still going through some things. But what recovery has taught me is how to gracefully go through things, how to work my steps, apply my principles, how to hold on, how to apply faith, and know that I'm going to be okay. Um, it took me 5 years to get 5 years, and I'm grateful that I'm still here because I've lost a lot of people along the way, guys that I've sponsored, friends that I've made. Um, the disease of addiction is nothing to play with. And that's why I'm committing myself to working in the field. That's why I'm committing myself to one day having my own facility where I'm giving back. That's why I commit to this podcast. That's why I just don't know how not to serve in that capacity because I don't want to see anybody being lost to this disease of addiction as much as I can help it. Whether it's your mother, your father, your uncle, your aunts, grandmothers, grandfathers, children, siblings, nieces, nephews, it doesn't matter. I want to see families put back together because I've seen what addiction can do to a family. I've seen that. I've been a part of that. Uh, and I know the pain that goes along with that. And keep in mind, individuals that are using are not using because they're addicts. They're using because they're trying to escape reality. There's something that has happened somewhere. And all we're trying to do is we're trying to numb that pain. We don't want to feel that anymore. So when you see somebody, don't pass judgment on them because that could have been me. That easily could have been me. But I had somebody like my cousin that believed in me enough to say, you know what? Promise me that you'll stop. And I stopped. And we have my cousin is my shero. I'm not even gonna lie, she's my shero, right up there with my mom. Um, and I'm waiting on another really close friend of mine to join me here momentarily. We're gonna talk about hope through connection. Hang on just a second. Hang on just a second. Let me send this link really quick. and I got a little lost. I'm grateful. When I say I'm grateful, I am beyond grateful. Um, Guys, give me a second to stop talking just long enough to send this invite because it didn't go to the first address that I sent it to. And this is somebody that has been a part of my journey from early on, very early on. As I was saying, I'm trying not to be emotional right now. And you know what? And if I get emotional, I'm just going to be emotional because I've been to some places that, oh my God, when I say I've been some places that I didn't know if I'd be able to make it away, make it out. I've been to some places that I knew I shouldn't have been. I didn't want to be there, but I had to go because I had a habit that I had to I had to feed. Right, I had this addiction that I couldn't help it. Hey, Mike, it's good to see you, buddy. Um, and I'm sitting here now, and I just wish that I could open my heart so you could see what it is I'm describing. I'm thinking about the one sponsee I had recently. I really got super close to this kid. Um, I believed in him more than anything. Like somebody believed in me. Needless to say, he's no longer with us, and I'm still dealing with that one and reeling from that one a little bit, you know. But again, we talk about hope through connection. Um, I have some people that I can rely on, but when I tell you, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. That's all I can say is that I'm grateful. I'm gonna give my friend a few more moments to come on. Because I do want to be able to get somebody else's uh, story at the same time while we continue to speak and share. But I hope you guys have been having a great week. I hope your days have been amazing. I hope that you've been remembering to be kind to yourself. I hope you've remembered to be kind to somebody else. I hope you've done something loving for yourself. And I hope that you've done something loving for someone else also, because there's someone who needs what you have. Uh, there's somebody that needs specifically what you have. They can't receive their supply from anybody else. You are their person. You have been assigned to them. You are their person. And you're helping them is actually going to help you. Somebody needs you. I need you. I need you. Let me see if my friend received the link. I still have tons of text messages that I've been so busy today. I haven't been able to read them all. So again, if you sent me a text congratulating me on this milestone, if you sent me a DM, you posted on Facebook, if you tried to call me, whatever the case is, thank you. I'm going to get around to answering all of them. I promise you. Again, because I keep my promises. I'm just grateful. That's all I can say. I just keep going back to that. I'm grateful. I'm trying to purposely slow down a little bit so that I can give my friend time to get logged in, because the link didn't go to the first address that she provided. So I just sent her another one, and we're going to see if she can get signed on. But this is somebody that means a lot to me too, and I hope that you guys get to see a side of her that I get to see, and I hope you get to know more about me through her. Through her showing up and talking about our connection, how we came to be who we are, how we connected, how we became friends. And we've laughed about a lot of things. We've cried about some things. She's seen me go through some stuff. I've seen her go through some stuff, but we still rely on each other, and we just draw strength and hope from each other, because we know as long as we have each other, as addicts, as long as we have people that are like us, that understand us. See, I can talk to her about things that I can't go to church and talk to my pastor about. There's some things I can talk to her about I can't talk to the ushers about. I can't talk to the deacons. I can't talk to the deaconesses. I can't talk to the bishops. I can't talk to the priests. because they're not going to understand where I'm coming from. But I'm with a group of people that I'm able to share from a place of vulnerability. And what that allows me to do is to find freedom and to find rest, to escape that weariness that I've always tried to elude. And I can't escape and I can't get away from. But now I'm in a place that I'm okay. And there's my bestie, Nicole. I think you need to come in, baby, because I don't. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm going to add you to the stage. Everybody, welcome my beautiful friend, Nicole. Nicole,
Hey.
when I tell you I was just talking to him about how unique our friendship is and just how much you mean to me. And you've been there with me from the beginning. And so I want to talk about your story. And I really want to talk about your story specifically. But tonight, because of everything that's going on, I don't have the time that I want. So I'm going to have you back. But I want you to talk about the process. We're talking about the process of hope through connection. Uh,
Mm.
and I was able to connect with you early on in my recovery. So I want you to uh, talk to them about how we came to meet each other, what you meant to me, what you did, because I share my piece, but this is your time.
Um, I mean, where do you want me to start? Like when I first met
At
you?
the beginning, the
So
laugh, the rides in the car, the singing Adele, that wherever you want to start.
I know you already said about your 5 years is
I did,
today,
I did.
which I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Like, I'm so
You've been
proud
a
of
big
you.
part of that. Trust me, you've been a big part of that.
Yeah, I was, saying to Jimmy last night, I was like, it's weird how Marvin actually took my suggestions in the beginning. And I was like, and I only had 2 years at the time, but like looking back with someone with say 5 months to 2 years, that was a lot,
Yes.
which now with what I have 3.5 years, I feel so new. Like even then I felt so new, but it's just so different now, like
Well, I took your suggestions because I could tell I felt how much you loved and cared for me at that time. And really, all I wanted was connection. And I wanted
yeah,
somebody to love me and to understand. Hey, Ricky, I'm going to keep doing it. I just wanted somebody to understand where I was coming from and we can it was crazy because for those that don't know, your brother is actually my sponsor in the 12-step fellowship that I'm in, but I was closer with you, and because of you is how I met him and then asked him to sponsor me, and I was so
yeah,
afraid to ask him to sponsor me.
yeah.
I didn't even ask him. I texted him. I texted him and he was like, and I was stammering through it. I was like, would you maybe somehow kind of possibly think about sponsoring me? And his response to me was, I would love to. And my life has been different. It's been on an upward trajectory ever since then. That's not to say that I haven't had my issues, but I have. And I think about those things that you used to tell me early on because I watched you in a relationship that bet your boyfriend at the time was jealous of me, and I don't know why. Like
Yeah, I mean, we've seen both of each other, especially me in a relationship, out of a relationship, moving, getting evicted, me relapsing, coming back. I mean, you already know you are a huge part. You drove me back to the treatment center that time,
I will never
so
forget. I had never drove. That's my best. So I saw my best friend in despair. I have never in my life driven that car so hard.
okay, I was gonna say if you said fast, because you already drive fast.
I was driving extra fast that night because I knew my friend needed help. And
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that piece if you want to, because I just remember you felt like you were in a place where you weren't safe. You knew you were safe, but I remember you
Well,
were
yeah, I definitely went there because I feel like, my subconscious, I knew that was a safe place,
right.
right? When we used to the point where we're up, I was up a week straight, not eating, not sleeping, just running to where I had hallucinated thinking the cops were after me. And
And
I was still on the way to the dope man. You
yeah,
know, like that's literally where I was going. And he was like, he's, probably still three lights up from our clubhouse now. So like that's the insanity that I used to pass where I got my recovery every day to now going to the dope man.
well, it's
And
funny
I
that
was on the way to the dope man when I stopped at Serenity that night,
Mhm.
like because I thought the cops were on me. I was like, well, I was like, them at our clubhouse, they're not going to be mad if I show up with the cops here. But if I show up to the parking lot with the dope man with the cops, he's going to be mad.
Well,
Like
see,
that was my thought process thinking that night, you
but when you
know?
talk about the insanity, though, and I remember that night, and I remember I've never seen you like that before, because you got to understand, I had 6 months clean at the time, and you had 2 years. I just remember looking up to you and listening to you and taking your suggestions, and I wasn't mad. I was just hurt, but I was more. I went into
I
fight
think you had more like a year and a half at that time
at that
because when we
time.
met, you had like five, we'll say 6 months. But I think you had
That's
about 5 months because it
September,
was in how long did you have in August? Because it was
five,
August because
five
I
months, 5 months, 5 months.
yeah, because
September
I first
18th.
went to Serenity, the old clubhouse. Am I allowed to say that word?
Yeah,
Okay, well the clubhouse. I first went there in August, so that was 2019
yeah,
because I was picking up my 2 years
yeah.
and I was so depressed and going through so much that I didn't want to go to a meeting in the area that I was going to meetings. And someone from my original home group had said, "Oh, you'll love that place. Like it's your type of people, blah, blah, blah. You need to go there." And I wanted to pick up my 2 year medallion, but I didn't want to be around people that I knew because
Right.
I felt so low. And that's why I went to Serenity. God, I said it again. I'm just so used to
No,
saying it.
you
I'm
can
sorry.
say serenity. Just that's fine because
Yeah,
you.
it's not the whole place, but whatever. I don't know the rules of this, but that's what I call it. And, so it was, yeah, it was that August. So I feel like we met maybe like right after that. It was like that summer,
Yeah, because
and you,
I started going June of 19, even because remember I had 3 months in between when I initially got clean until I was still in Dade County at the time. I didn't come to Broward County until June of 2019 because remember I had gone back to South Carolina for about 3 weeks. Then I came here. June
okay.
26th of 2019 was the first time that I started going to the clubhouse up there. And then you and I met in August. So that was 5 months. So that we started hanging out and just you
Yeah. And you instantly just came up to me like, "Hi, what are you doing? Blah, blah. Come over here and talk to people. Can I have let me get a lighter." And
that
you're
sounds
still
just
like
like
that
me.
though. Like you still, talk to everyone and hug everyone and I don't know, but that's how we originally met.
Yes. But then it's funny because you were talking about the insanity, but I remember the night going back to, when you
Yeah.
were in psychosis and you were paranoid or whatever, and you thought cops, we laugh about it now, but it's not funny because this is what happens. But I just
Yeah.
remember sitting next to you and you kept saying the cops were following you. And I knew that you really believed that. And that was breaking my heart because I'm like, see, I'm that person. See, I'm a Leo. You know this about me.
Yeah, you
I'm gonna
already know I'm a
swing.
Leo. We
I'm gonna
both in
swing
August.
first. I'm swinging first, asking questions later. But this was not something that I could swing at. But I
Yeah.
knew that all I could do was pour out of my heart as much as I could because my friend, I'm sitting here watching this, and I remember I was hugging you, and then I was like, Nicole, this is Marvin. I am real. The cops are not. I'm with you. You're safe. I mean, it's like I'm talking to you like this, but you were still like, no, you were seeing what you were seeing, and no
Yeah.
matter it, and then
And
just to,
for me, I couldn't process it in my brain because like I've taken psychedelics and hallucinated but I knew that I was doing that to get to that state, right? Like getting to that state from lack of sleep was what, my higher power knows like me losing my mind and like, the thing with me losing my kids, like that was like probably I'm putting that's my limit. That's my two things that's going to get me clean.
Mhm,
Because other than that, I've ran,
right.
like
Well,
those were the main two things. Those were my two bottoms, like that
that's what
got
we
me to where
do.
I am now.
It's in my experience that that's what we do as addicts when we use that we run. We're professional runners. Like
Yeah.
we're good at trying to escape. And the thing that I found out is the thing that I try to run the hardest from is the thing that I run the hardest into. So I was trying to run from me all the time, and then I ended up running into me. So now here I am with 5 years in. It's not about drugs anymore. So I have to ask myself, what is it
Yeah.
about? It's about the underlying causes, the behaviors, the feelings, the emotions, and all that stuff. And so going back to and you alluded to losing your kids, but we're going to talk about how you got them back. Uh, but I just want to talk about the night that we took you to treatment. When you got in my car, because I was like, no, I'm going to get my friend some help. Like, no, we're not doing this. And you were doing everything in your power to convince me not to take you. And I was doing everything in my power to press that accelerator, that pedal just a little bit harder. I think I was driving like another friend of ours, Brenda. I'll say her name, not her last name. She was with us, 110 miles an hour. It was supposed to take us an hour to get you to where you were going. I now work with you, and it takes roughly about that long to get there. I think we got there in like 25 minutes flat. Because you are so rebellious, and you were so like you were you were doing everything that you could that night to try to get out of going to this place. And I was like, no, we're gonna get you some help. And then you got
Oh,
there, and then you didn't like the lady or something. She says, like, well, I'm gonna go back home. And I said, I don't know how you're gonna get there. Who's gonna take you? But you actually stayed, and here you are. I got my friend back, So talk
yeah.
about the process of, because this happens a lot, and we talk about the hope. What was it like for you losing your kids and in the process of actually getting them back? And I've gotten to meet both of them, Aaliyah and Marcus, and I love them both to pieces.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hope piece was like the only thing that kept me around. I came from, using and having kids and using, and then like I didn't even know of recovery, right? Like I didn't know that there was a place that I could grow and change, and like there was other people like me that were actually not using, until my brother like came out here and got clean. And even then he had like, I think around 3 years
Mm-hmm.
from when I had seen him. It was Christmas time, and like he came to visit, and there was just something different about him,
Mm-hmm.
like all them couple of times that we spoke, and he's like, yeah, I'm not using no more. Like I still didn't believe it, but then when I had seen him, there was just like that spark, and then I randomly called him, I think in like January, and then I said, like, I think I want to come to Florida, like I need help. And I came out here for 20 days, and I acted a fool. I cursed everyone out that was trying to
We
help
all done
me.
that.
I
That was,
fought
yes.
everyone. I did like whatever they told me to do, I did the opposite.
Right.
And I went back to Jersey after like I think it was 22 or 23 days, and I used, like, and I remember being mad that I had to wait like 3 hours after getting off the plane, like for the dope man to come. Like I was like, I just it still didn't click, and then about 6 months later, that August, it was on my 27th birthday when the kids got taken from me, and they went with their dad's mom. Um, I just knew I was gonna die in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that feeling, you're just like, I was already feeling so low, like I'm sure there was already so many times that like I wish I would have just died, but I had them, so like I couldn't. So like that I wouldn't bring my brain to like be in that deep, deep thought,
Right.
right? But without them, like I just knew, like when they left, and I was so sick, like I had just got out the hospital. That was the whole reason why that like, Difiska had got called, because I was in the hospital sick for 3 days from IV use,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that was the same hospital that I had the kids, so they didn't have no choice like but to call them on me. And then yeah, I remember like going to use and my brother calling. like right as I was about to use. Like I didn't use yet, and I remember thinking like I have 3 days, like, and it's got to be a sign that my brother's calling me because he don't ever call me. But he was
Right.
probably calling me maybe because it was my birthday. Now that I'm thinking of it, but like I was like, man, I can't. And I used, and then I called him and was like, bro, like they just took the kids. Like I need help because otherwise I'm gonna die. You
Mhm.
know, like I was like 100 pounds, didn't have nothing going on, was living off of the state. Like that's the only reason why I had the roof over my head, like,
And your brother just joined your
really?
sponsor. Yeah, he just
That's
joined.
funny.
He's
You
gonna be.
know,
I'm gonna have him on here next.
he hasn't been on here yet.
He just said, "Look at us now." That's right. I can't wait until they see you sponsor because this is
Eh,
the most phenomenal person that I have met in my life. I was scared of him at first. I don't know why. It just
Well,
fear.
yeah, and that's another thing. Like I think you had a sponsor at the time, and you were like, it's working, but it's not. It's hard for us to see each other, and I see him here, but like, you didn't have a car at the time,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, my brother has time, or something like that, or I don't know if
You
you
said
brought
it.
it up. I
PJ
think
said
I
it.
said it, and you were already thinking it, or something, and
And
I
he
was just
already
like,
he
well,
already had
ask
seen
him.
me at the halfway house I was living at. So I knew who he was and he knew who I was, but I was
Yeah,
still just I was scared to ask him to sponsor me. You said it first, PJ said it next. So I knew God was saying, ask this man to sponsor you.
yeah. I remember you saying, no, I don't
I
know,
said
I'm
it. I said
scared.
no.
I'm like, just ask him, like, what is he gonna say? No? Like, and I'm like, and he probably won't say no.
I was just like, he gonna say no, I'm not asking. But I remember again, I texted, I texted him. I really thought I called him. I swear to God, I thought I called him. And he told me one day, he says, no, you didn't call me, you text me. But I just remember his response was, I would love to. And
I know, that's what I remember you saying.
that
Like,
made me
you
feel,
telling me, it was like I could feel the love, like,
yep,
through it. And I was like,
yep.
cool.
And it's made me feel like I felt like somebody has seen me every day since then.
Yeah.
And
And
there's nothing
even
I
when we
wouldn't
don't
like.
talk every day, and same with your other friends, like, we still see each other,
Yep,
you
yep.
know?
But now we're talking about your kids and how they were taken away. Can you talk about, see, because the thing about it that I want people to understand is that, we may make mistakes, but we also get to clean up the wreckage of our past and the mistakes that we've made after we rectified those things that we've lost. They slowly begin to come back our way. So talk about
Right.
what it's been like for you, having your children in your
Um, Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a process, right? Like the fear, um, like I'm an addict, right? I'm an addict to my core. So I'm always gonna have that self-doubt, that self-sabotage. What if I get them back and mess up again and get them taken away again? Then they might as well just stay where they are, like, because they're okay right now, and I have to keep pushing through them thoughts, right? Like that's not reality.
right.
Even now I still think that, recently I just went and saw them in New Jersey, and I went to the courthouse on Monday. This was a week ago, and me and their grandmom filled out the paperwork. So I'm just waiting for the court date, and then they'll come be with me. But yeah, it was definitely a process, right? Like, cause I lived in halfway, went to a three-quarter way, then I started shacking up with a man. And then they came that summer, right? I think it was like around 2 years, and that was like the
Mhm.
first summer that they came to Florida. So this was 2019, and
Did they come
um,
there first? Did they come there first? Yes, I just
yeah,
didn't
that
get to
was
meet
that
them.
was the first summer that they had
Yeah,
came. Prior to that, I had always flown to New Jersey to see
right.
them,
So did
and
they
because
come
I
in
was in a
20?
halfway,
Did they
I
come
was
in
in.
20? Because 20 was COVID, so they skipped the summer, right?
No, it was before that. It was definitely before that.
No, but I'm saying I remember them coming in 19. I just didn't get to meet them. But I'm saying, did you have them the following summer? You
No,
remember
I'm
COVID?
pretty sure you met them that summer because that was after they left was the whole thing with the breakup and that guy saying, "Oh, you're, you know."
You're trying to sleep with that
Girl, you know
man.
I'm 50 years old. I can't remember some things. My
Yeah,
sponsor
so
remembers
I'm
everything, but I don't.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you had met them that summer though. But that was a big part, that was a big part of me, like the reality snapping out of it, like, I really don't want to be with this man. This was really just convenience,
Mhm.
right? I didn't want to be in halfway. I didn't like the rules. I didn't like the curfew. I don't like being told what to do. And so that was like an easy way that I could manipulate being out of a
And then
situation.
when I went to halfway, you were the one who convinced me to stay in halfway, to follow the rules, do my chores, do my, like you. And I just remember I did it. I didn't want to be there, but I had to understand that I'm there because of me.
Well, listen, it's really easy for me to tell you the good advice, Marvin. I can talk the good advice all day. I can see it in other people all day. I can see your insanity. But in my shit, I don't want to look. I don't want to
Right,
see it. I just want to
right.
be out. I don't want to be here right now. I need to go.
But the thing about it is, but you did it,
Yeah,
and
right.
we're
I
gonna talk
mean, it
about this piece
definitely
because
taught me a whole lot, right? I definitely tell people to this day, like I stayed in halfway for a year, over a year, right? It was a little over a year, and then I went to a three-quarter way for like another 4 months and did that transition. And listen, that taught me a whole lot, right?
yeah,
Living with women, being accountable, getting a job, showing up on time, all them things, right? Just following the rules in general.
yeah.
Because for all of them, we'll say a decade, a
Well,
little
it's the
more.
structure. It's the structure and the discipline that living in halfway provides. I mean, because at the end of the day, most of us we lack structure and we lack
Right.
discipline. That's part of
Right.
unmanageability. So I had to learn how to manage again. I didn't get it all right at the beginning. You know that about me. I didn't get it right then. I still don't get it right. But
Yeah.
the thing
I mean,
about
I
it
was going
is,
to say even down to like paying the rent every week,
yeah,
right? Because, like
yeah,
I said, I was on Section 8. I didn't have to pay no bills.
right.
So, what? You mean I got to pay rent every week? I got to get a job? A real job?
I got to catch the bus. But guess what?
Right.
We did those things. And I remember,
Yeah.
like, now that I look back, I miss some of those days. Like, I miss just getting, like, I still remember the bus routes. You know, I,
Yeah.
and I think I should just, and I've said I was going to do this before, and I just haven't done it yet. But I just want to remember the experience. Some days I just feel like just parking my car at the park and go or whatever, and jumping on the tri rail, which I used to do this. I tri rail to the Metro Rail at the 79th Street station in Miami.
Yeah.
Take it, transferring, just and taking that all the way down to Coral Gables, or taking the buses in Broward County. Like I still know routes now. Um, it's just been etched in my memory and I haven't forgotten. And then it's like now this generation of addicts that are coming along is like
It's
instead of being humble enough to catch the bus,
yeah.
let me ask somebody to pick me up. Like I'm not
Yeah.
doing any work, but I want the easy way out. No,
Being
you got to go through your
entitled.
process. So
Yeah.
what was your process like in terms of when you really, I heard you talking about being halfway, like that process or the transition of going from halfway to on your own. What was that process like for you?
Um, well, I mean, if we're talking about the initial time before the relapse and this time, I mean, that's what I was saying. I, conveniently was able to, live with the guy that I was dating at the time. We were talking about the kids. They had came that summer, and that's when like reality really hit, right? When I was
Mhm.
just like, this is not good. Like I don't want to be here. I don't want my kids to be here. Like I want more. I deserve more. They deserve more, and I need to get out of here.
Mhm.
And that's when like I kind of started planning my escape plan, and then it
Mhm.
was like kind of easy that he acted the way he did. Like you were a big part of that, like because really me and you were the one hanging out all the time.
Yep.
And he was
I just remember
jealous of
Adele
you
in the
and
car, and
acting crazy because of you, and I was like, he doesn't like me. Like that's
right,
my
like he
friend.
likes boys. He don't like me. you're safe. But I don't
Yeah.
know why people don't get that. I guess they think that that's some type of ploy. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
He don't like girls. He just like, no. Look at him. He don't like girls. But I
Yeah.
just remember during that time, you gave me so much hope. Because number one, I like singing. A lot of people don't know that. And instead of me having to catch the bus, I noticed that people would start offering me rides because I was whatever it took me to get to my
Oh,
meetings or whatever, I was gonna do that.
We
I didn't
sang in
ask
the
anybody to
car.
do anything.
Every day we sang in the
We
car.
sang in that car every day. So that was the first thing. I was reconnecting with a passion. And number two, just the fact that you had a car. It gave me hope that one day I was gonna have a car too.
Yeah.
And you
And I
talking
mean,
about me.
we were talking about the hope piece. Like, my brother gave me that car that we were driving in. My brother wouldn't have gave me, I mean, I think I gave him like $200 or $300 for that car, which was like, you know, it was what, that Crown Vic, right?
No, it was the Altima. I
Oh,
never,
I must have. Okay, yes, I did have the Ultim. Okay,
yeah, it
so
was the
my
Altima.
first car, though, I did take the bus, and then I got a bike, and then I still just took the bus. And I think I had around like 9 or 10 months, and my brother was getting his Nissan, and he had a Crown Vic. And he was like, "I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm getting a new car. Um, like, do you want it? I'll just give it to you, kind of like for what I got it for, like a couple $100." And I was like, "Yeah." And for my brother to do that, it like showed me like that he saw that I was on the right path. You know what I mean? Because if I was messing up and not doing the right thing, he wouldn't even have offered.
Hmm.
Like knowing that, like that meant a lot, like the whole hope piece was that he could do it. Like, this was someone that, one, he's my brother, and two, I ran with him for
Hmm.
years, and now he's
Hmm.
clean, and then I'm out here and I see other people clean. Like, I'm like, if they can do it, then I can do it, right?
Right.
Like that whole saying, the hold on, pain ends, like
Yes.
acronym, like I lived by that in the beginning. Like
Yeah.
that was like, some people think, like, look at the other phrases that we have in the serenity prayer. For me, that was like my biggest one, right?
Hmm.
Like that was my hope and my faith. Like,
Right. And for me, where I draw hope and strength, excuse me, draw hope and strength from other people. Um, it's like I said, I look at you, and I remember the summer you and I we were doing something in your car battery. We were shopping on Marina Mile Boulevard at one of those stores over there, Dollar, no, Big Lots or whatever. And I remember your battery died, and you said, "I'm gonna call my brother. He lives just down the street from here." And he came over to give you a jump, and I actually got to meet him that day. And I was scared of him then too. I don't know why. I'm like, why was I so
yeah, I
scared of him?
remember it was Big Lots because we went in there and bought the jumper cables.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Like we like the stories, like I love it. But anyways, um, just the fact that you were making all these progressions in your life, I knew I could do the same thing. And for me,
Right.
it was important. Like I've learned early on not to compare my process to anybody else's because comparison is the thief of joy. And so if I envy what you have, that's one thing. But if I look to you for that hope and for that strength and I talk to you, if I want what you got, I do what you do. So for me, that's what this process has been like for me. Like recovery has simply been just a matter of listen to other people and
Right.
stop trying to navigate your own way because my best thinking is my worst enemy. So I just listen to you. I listen to my sponsor now that I finally get honest with him and I tell him everything because I used to tell him things after the fact.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Sometimes I might still slip up every now and again and tell him something a couple days later, but I'm able to be honest with him. I'm able to talk to him, and it's like there's no fear, and it's the best
Yeah.
relationship that I have with anybody, and I got to see my actual current grant sponsor now and my old grant sponsor at a meeting I just went to. And I was sitting in my head, I already know my sponsor was going somewhere else to speak. And in my head, I was like, I wish he were here because that would have meant so much to me in that moment to have the man that's guiding me through the steps right there with the two that have
Right.
guided him in the process, because and that for me is hope. And it's funny because somebody asked me, one of the predecessors, like, do you have a 5-year key tag? And I was like, no. He went to his car, he got a 5-year key tag. He came back and
Huh.
brought me a 5-year key tag. So I have, and then it was funny because when I got it, I'm like, that's a 30-day key tag. So I'm looking at it, but it's an actual five-year key tag.
Oh,
Just the fact that somebody believes in me enough like that. That's why I have people like you in my life, and why I have other people that I choose to connect with because we spread the hope and we give other people the courage to be who they are and to know that, hey, we've been there. We made the mistakes. So that you
Right.
don't have to. If you just
Yeah.
listen, we got you. But if I try to navigate my own process and if I try to do it my way, then it's not gonna work. It just
Yeah.
isn't gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, I finally just like I was so scared. I was so scared that I had to listen to it every like my the same thing. My first sponsor, I listened to everything she told me, right? So half of the things that I told you was just like what she was telling me because I had already been through it, you know. I really didn't have that much more time than you on the grand scheme of things. You know, I had kind of just went through it and was on the other side,
Hmm.
and now there you were, you
Hmm.
know, so it was very easy for me to see it, you
Like
know,
I was getting
but
all
I
of
was
your
so
experience.
scared, you
I was
know.
get- I was getting all of your experience because see the thing about me when I first came around, I learned if you got 30 days clean and I got 30 days clean, that means you don't know as much as I know, and I don't know as much as you know. So let
Right.
me find somebody that knows more than both of us knows put together, and let me and whether you want to join, come along, or whatever, I gotta do what I gotta do for me. So I was hanging with people that had 2 years clean, 5 years clean, 10 years clean, 15 years clean. I'm showing up at the clubhouse playing dominoes, playing spades. I mean, it's like I learned how to although I didn't trust people really quickly, I just started sitting back and I just started watching. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in where I fit in, but I gotta find where excuse me, I gotta find where I fit, but I had to watch. And when I started watching the whole process, things just became easier, and then you and I used to sit and play spades. I'm like, let's play spades. Come on, you my partner. And just early recovery for me, it's like it really set the tone for my course of recovery and whatnot. But
Yeah.
and looking at you, I remember seeing you with your 2 years. I remember when you were work. I forgot was the name of the Brazilian restaurant that you were studying the menu for, and you were so fearful and so scared. I
Yeah.
forgot the name of it, but I remember you applied because you were working your steps at the time, and I remember you applying. The spiritual principles to the job, and I remember me telling you, it's like you got this, you can be able to do this, and it's like, and you were listening to what I was saying, and I'm like, but who am I that she's even listening to me? But you listened to what I was saying, and you kept going. And what else happened?
I remember I got the job, but I
Yep,
also had got another job. So I
yep,
started two jobs the same week, and one was first shift, and the other one that was hard was second shift. And after that Monday to Friday, I was like, I cannot keep doing this. I have to pick one. And I picked the easier one. I picked the one that I was comfortable with. Which I mean, that was fine. Like I wound up moving right there. Like literally, it was like right in front of the complex of where my house was, the
right.
apartment that I moved, which was like right near my brother, like literally 8 doors across from each other. You know, so that's like where I was supposed to be, at that time. You know,
But I was
I
watching your entire process. How it benefited me is I got to watch you make choices, and I got to watch you go through that thought process to arrive at a particular choice that either helped you or hurt you. So I was actually witnessing
yeah.
how you navigated your way through those choices, and it was setting me up. Like, and I just remember we got to tell the people this. We got to tell the people this is funny.
Oh God.
When we're driving in the car, and I'm always because I've always been boy crazy. Like I can look, don't mean I'm gonna touch, but I'm gonna look, right? And I just remember I'd always see somebody either they were walking or on a bike because see at the time that's where my sights were set. That's all I believed I was deserving of, right? Even though I
Yeah.
wasn't looking for anybody. And I just remember told me one day, I was like, oh Nicole, look at him, he's so fine. And you were like, Marvin, now you can tell him what you said.
I was like, he's walking.
Or he's on a bike. And it's
Or
not that we
he's on
got
a
a problem with
bike. And
anybody
I
that's
was like,
walking
you
or
don't got,
riding
I was
bikes,
like, you don't got, I was like, you're driving with me. I was like, so they need to have a car or you need to have a car.
but we
And it's
both can't
funny
be
because I
walking.
was just saying this, to my boyfriend last night because he was asking like, oh, how long have I had this truck? And I was like, I think 4 years. And he's like, did I have this car when I met you? And I was like, no, you didn't have no car. And he was, and then I said, and that's the story that I told him, and I was like, it's so funny. I was like, Marvin's gonna have his 5 years tomorrow, and that story came to mind, and I was like, how funny, because I remember us joking later, and you were like, he don't got no car, and I was like, yeah, but at least I got a car. I was like, so
Yeah, I
we'll
did.
buy
I'm like,
one.
how you going? See, that's what I'm talking about. It's like we're good at telling other people. I had to remind you, like, girl, he ain't got a car.
I was like, yeah, but
I'm
I
like,
do. I was like, I
what?
do.
But no, that's the thing about recovery. That I mean, I have formed some really solid friendships.
Yeah.
Um, like, and when I say I mean, and you know this about me. Like, I don't play when I say I love people, um, and especially people that's struggling. You know, it's like there's something in me that goes out to them, and I guess because we've been there before, and it's
Yeah.
if I see a way out of the darkness, let me help you. And I get in trouble sometimes with that because I can't I can't be the end all be all in somebody's life. If you're not
Yeah, it's
ready to
finding the
start there,
balance.
right, right. Like I
Because like I could say like so the other day, at our clubhouse we had a speaker jam like 2 weeks ago and the room was packed and I had just got there and my meeting attendance isn't the same, right? Like I don't go to a meeting every day like I used to. I go to a select few, and when I go, I want to like hear the message and pay attention and get my cup filled and like go like take what I've learned in the rooms and apply it out here in the real world. Like that's what
mhm,
we're supposed to do to me. And this guy had came in and he like walked by and you could tell like he smelled his clothes were messed up and I just wanted to like get up and hug him and like be like, do you want a seat? Like, do you want my seat? After somebody had just got up and gave me their seat, right? But like I didn't because I'm like I need to sit here too. Like I just got here and I want to hear it. But like I just wanted to, like that's like the empathy that we have, like
yeah,
because we've been there.
yeah,
But I also can't do that all the time.
right,
Like I knew at that time, like I needed to hear something.
right.
You know what
And,
I
and
mean?
that's
Like,
that's true what you just said. One thing I can say about addicts is we are some of the kindest, we are some of the most gentle, and we're some of the most empathetic, compassionate, caring, and loving people that you'll ever meet. You know, so and it's big for me to see people for who they are. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you're wearing. The same way. If you smell,
yeah,
so what? Be like, oh, you hugged him. He stinks. Okay, I hugged you and you stink. Your clothes may not stink, but your attitude stinks. What's
yeah,
the difference? Spiritual stink, a physical stink, whatever. But there's in a piece of literature in this one fellowship that I that shall remain nameless. It says the hugs that we give are an instrumental part. Basically, I'm paraphrasing now. The hugs are an instrumental part of the experience. When I hug
right.
you, or when you hug me, because there's something chemically that takes place. And scientifically speaking, it's been proven that we need a minimum of 8 hugs per day. The average
I
human being
think
needs a minimum.
13 actually
Is it
for
13?
spiritual like alignment for
Yes.
the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I hug you or when you hug me, I should feel God. I should
Yeah,
feel like
and I think the other piece in the literature is like that's we don't know if that's the last time we're going to see them.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
how many of us addicts that we've known are not here
Yep,
anymore?
yep,
Like it's like life or death now at this point, like the way it is. Like, and I can't even say, oh, back in my day, we didn't do,
right. Because I mean, it's
but
still our day. It's like, and it's
yeah,
crazy because, and I hate to say game because it's not a game, but the game has changed. I mean, the game hasn't changed, but the drugs have. It's like
right,
you pick up one time, and it's like where you used to be able to get away with using certain substances. Like now, if you use a certain substance just one time, and it doesn't even have to be a large quantity, and that's it. And,
yeah,
and, and we don't think about the hurt of the people that love us. We don't think about how we affect them. We don't think about that piece because it's like I'm the one using. How is my using hurting you? Because that's the
right,
selfishness of the disease. We don't think about that. But there were people who loved us enough to say, look, I want you to stop. But when you're
Yeah.
ready, you'll be ready because we get it when we get it, right?
Right.
But I've just learned I can't navigate anybody else's process. Either you want it or you don't. And um, I wish everybody would just live this way of life. But hey, if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. Yeah, but it's available.
Yeah, it's cool. I see the time, but my boyfriend's daughter is 21, I think, and she's been using and she's hitting like a bunch of rock bottoms, and she finally just went to rehab like again, and she stayed, and like she has I think like 2 months, clean right now, and she's been like texting me like almost every day, like going to a different meeting every day, and she's like, I'm just gonna go to all the meetings in this area, like she's in Tennessee, and she's like, I'm just gonna see which one I fit in, and like some of the people were like yesterday she said the people say that she's like a light, like there now, like, and I'm just like, I wish, it's like when you want to just grab them and shake them and be like, this is all you need to do and you'll get it. Right? Like that I'm sure my brother and other people wanted to do to me. Like, and I wanted to do that so bad. And then also I had to be like, it's her life, it's her journey, it's her process, right? But it's been really cool, like she's like getting involved, and like she like was like, can you send me some money for a book, like to her dad a couple of days ago, and I was like, like hell yeah. Like it's just so cool,
That's the piece that
to
I
like
love the
see
most.
that light, like, and that gives me hope, right?
Hmm.
Because I already know like that could be me,
Yeah,
that was me,
yeah.
but like I'm not that far from that.
We're just one bad decision
I
away
wouldn't
from
say
that.
I'm one bad decision away, but I'm maybe like a couple bad decisions away. I
I
might,
always I always tell myself I'm one wrong decision, one wrong thought, one wrong action. That's the way I look at it. Because my best thinking is my worst enemy. That
well,
first thought,
I guess so, yeah. My first thought is wrong. And my second and my third thought is normally
I
wrong.
got a whole line of them that I have to get through. I'll be like, "Hey, sponsor," and I tell you, and this is what my sponsor said: "Boy, you a damn fool."
We are.
But look, I'm
Well, we're
definitely gonna have you
trying.
back next week because I want you to talk more about your story, your process from the beginning to the end. You know what it was like. You know,
Yeah, you've had a busy day. I
yeah,
was like, do you want to
it,
do this later? Because you've been running.
I have, but you know what? But I have the energy to keep going. I love you, Nicole. Now you already know that.
I love you,
But
and I'm so
and I
proud of
think that I
you.
know the format of the podcast now. You know, I was trying to not be so cookie cutter and follow the footsteps of anybody else. But you know what? I got to do what I got to do because at the end of the day, if there's somebody that's struggling, maybe that there's something you will say to them that will resonate with them. You know, they
Yeah.
will hear more voices than just mine. But I want to help. I want to serve. I want to be on the battlefield and do whatever I can. So I'm grateful that you agreed to stop by with me tonight. If
Of
you are a
course.
loved one is struggling from substances, that's my information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You send me a message. I'll put my email address up there later. We'll figure this thing out.
Yeah.
But Nicole, I love you.
I love
You've been
you
my A1.
since
You are
day
my
one.
A1. But I'm gonna get out of here now because I got one more medallion to pick up tonight, and I'm calling it a night.
I know that's right.
All right. So next Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna have Nicole again. I want you guys, I challenge you to do something kind for yourself and something kind for somebody else. Do something loving for yourself and do something loving for somebody else. This has been another episode of The Chop with Marvin Lee. And as my sponsor says, he just said it, and I'm gonna repeat it. Keep cool. Stay in school.
I can't.
You
Bye.
just said that, but anyways, I love you guys. Have a great week. Bye,
I
Nicole.
love you.
I love you more.
Now, how do I log off this thing?